Western world invented gunpowder for guns?
We got it from the Chinese.
Huh.
Si, senor.
We are live.
I wish that's how World War II fights were. They were just bottle rockets.
We're live?
I used to do that when I was a kid. Yeah.
I did that.
I
put bottle
here
rockets in my
I
butt.
come and me want
Not
to
in my
go
butthole. I
home.
just like held them in between
You know
my
what
butt
the
cheeks.
shittiest weird thing is?
Ayo.
He was saying, I have to be blasted to do karaoke. And I was like, dude, you should just do Harry Belafonte songs. He's like, who's that? I don't know any of his songs.
Yeah, I do Bill Withers songs.
We gotta do the intro.
I usually sing to
Oh.
old women.
Yeah.
People of the world, we are the three philosophers. We're here to talk about everything. We're here to talk about nothing. Hopefully, we're here to talk about something that interests you, excites you, makes you go,
I do that all the time because I don't ever know what to
Why am I watching this channel?
That's what everybody says.
You got a poem?
What? Oh, shit.
There once was a man from Nantucket.
Who sat on a bucket.
Nope.
And said, fuck it.
His dick was so long he could suck it.
Dude, whoa.
Welcome.
He was part whale.
Actually,
Hard
give me
like a
number 1 to 82. 4. Okay.
As soon as you do your poem, play ad.
Oh, fuck you, dude. Bitch.
She's gotten big.
That's what they say about my penis.
And since no one else named her from
They called her she?
land, we called her Ella.
It's because she's got really
As
long
in
hair.
Eleanor Rigsby.
You gotta comb it.
It looks like Osama bin Laden's beard down there, man.
Oh, cool. This one's short. Thanks, man. The way is empty, yet inexhaustible. Like an abyss. It seems to be the origin of all things. It dulls the sharpness, unites the knots, dims the lights, becomes with the dust. Deeply hidden, as if only might exist. I do not know whose child it is. It seems to precede the ancestors of all.
I know whose child it is. It was yours as parking lot child.
My child made the My child made the Dow?
Yes.
Dude, I got some awesome balls.
You made
then,
that.
man.
You made that child in the parking lot one night after work.
No, I use the pull-out method. I Jackson Pollocked her. You
Okay.
know who Jackson Pollock is?
So,
Your
yes.
mother's foot.
So rumor has it
Rumor has it.
that Jim Carrey is doing a Terrence McKenna movie, and he goes out to, like all method actors do, to study for the part and live that persona of who that person they're playing is. And so obviously he's got to do massive doses of psychedelics if he's going to be Terrence McKenna. Duh. And so he does like a heroic dose of shrooms. And ever since then, supposedly he's been like saying some wild ass shit and is kind of like reflecting on the world. So Jim
Speaks in
Carrey
tongues
is
now.
woke.
Blah, 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 goo.
Jim Carrey's wife also died.
Yeah.
Supposedly it was his fault. But he's like,
His
no.
girlfriend.
Wasn't that like fucking years ago?
Yeah, it's been several years, I think.
Oh, this is super off topic. There's a dude who comes to our store where we work.
What?
Just one dude?
Just one. There's nobody else.
Ever?
Ever.
That guy must be a baller.
So, you know how his fender's knocked in? So whenever he would open his door, he'd make that...
Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, his whole front end
Is
is
missing.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Grill, headlight, bumper.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that has to do with anything, but okay.
I know, I just had to mention that. I had to say something.
Off
him-
topic. He announced it at the beginning.
Yeah, like Pluto, off topic.
Yeah, man, go fuck yourself up with that.
God damn it. You know what I always forget Buddha's name.
Jim.
Buddha.
Jeffries.
No.
Craig. Elijah.
Mahatma.
No.
Bob.
I always what?
Bob. Bob.
Bob.
Okay, so I saw this movie with Liam Neeson, and it's about the Portuguese when they go to Japan. It's a recent movie, and they go to like spread Christianity.
I have a perfect set of skills.
And
Zimbabwe.
so apparently,
Siddhartha.
Siddhartha.
Thank you.
So apparently, the Japanese are like gangster, right? So like every other country, Christianity spreads, and they just they get a foothold. Japan was like, "Fuck you." I mean, like we've got our own practices and beliefs, so you can't spread your weirdness here.
Quit jerking off on my lawn.
The interesting thing, though, is religion didn't stick, right? They were strong enough to repel foreigners' religious beliefs, but guess what stuck?
Fried chicken, burgers, I don't know. Fucking
The almighty dollar, the religion of greed, the religion of consumerism,
almighty dollar.
right? They took it over and then kicked our ass with it.
Worship you. We
So
sacrifice our children.
They were able to say no to
dollar.
Christianity, right? They were able to like stay strong against the seed of Christianity. But when we introduced capitalism and consumerism, they just took it and made it their own and kicked our ass with it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think the dollar is the new god.
Well, I mean, people worship it in a weird way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just material shit in general. Got to have the new car. Got to have the iPhone 17. Got to have the PlayStation 43.
Oh, I
Gotta
want
go
it.
see.
I
Got to
cut
go
out-
see Fast and the Furious 74
I cut out GW's head.
and Spider-Man
put my dick
Spider-Man
through it.
712.
I mean, all those things sound dope, though. I'd watch Spider-Man 47. I wouldn't watch Fast and Furious anything.
They're out with a 9.
I'm pretty sure that I watched the first one and maybe the second one. After that, I was like, I don't.
I saw the one with Willem Dafoe, whichever one that was.
Defoe.
Well, I don't even know who that is.
Have you ever seen Boondock Saints?
Have you ever seen Mississippi Burning?
I know the Boondocks.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe's fucking weird, dude.
He's a good actor.
He's a really good actor.
He was also in Wild at Heart. You ever seen that?
I haven't seen that one.
Oh my God, that's a freaking crazy movie.
Him and Boondock Saints was a crazy.
He's in there with Nicolas Cage, a.k.a. Nicholas Coppola, Francis Ford Coppola's nephew.
Really?
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
If
That's
you watch,
why he's a treasure hunter.
if you watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
Idiot.
because he was in that, and in the credits it says Nicholas Coppola, because that was one of like the first movies he was in. Yeah, he's Francis Ford Coppola's nephew.
No shit.
Yep.
The original Godfather.
So he made up his name.
Movies.
He made up his own last name for acting and called himself Cage.
Oh, a good fair
Johnny
thing.
Cage.
We're
He
not
punched a four-armed dude in the dick.
not gonna do the live stream very long because we're very new to it. So we're gonna do this for probably about like 20-30 minutes, and then film
Over.
a 30-minute episode, which will come out later this week.
So we're live right now.
Yeah, we're just testing the waters.
Is anyone making comments?
No,
No.
there's one dude watching.
Hey,
One
man.
guy.
Appreciate it.
Hey, one dude. Who's the one dude? Does it tell us?
No, I wish that'd be cool though. But since I'm
Wait,
using,
can he do bleep bloops on the
Yeah,
super blam?
you can,
The blam blam blam?
comment.
Dude, do some blam
Blam
bloops
bloom.
on the
Blah blah.
show.
That's Brett's own language.
Man, whatever. You know what
So
I'm saying.
there's Ebonics and then there's Brettonics.
Dude, you can almost talk the entire day without
just
using
bleep loops?
one word. With just
With
bleep loops.
inflections and tones.
Yo, brother, bobbly, bobbly, boo, bobbly,
Not
bop,
even that.
Weep whoop pops.
Like,
Like that.
Have you seen
sorta, yeah.
Have you seen the Key and Peele skit where instead of saying people's names, they replace the names with farts,
Oh God.
and then they replace farts with names?
That sounds
So-
like a South Park
So they're
episode.
like, "Have you met?" She's very nice. Also, her husband is. And then a dude walks by and he's like, "Robert, Ugh. Ezekiel, excuse you." I'm just like, "Oh my god, that is hilarious." And then at the end of the skit, he's like, "Mother," for fucker.
Okay, so I saw a new documentary on giants.
Find the shit at.
Speaking of giants, you want to hear some crazy thing that I learned about Confucius?
a giant?
According to a lot of
A
the text written on Confucius, they said that he was a 9-foot man.
That's a perfect segue.
But because he was in China, even if he was a 6-foot dude, people still would have been like, "That's a 9-foot man." But
Well, even
he
if he
could have
was
been.
even if he was a 6-foot dude, that would be a giant because like if you go to any old like Civil War museums or like I went to the Chalmette Battlefield in New Orleans, and it was the where Andrew Jackson defeated the British.
Yeah.
And they had the actual uniforms of the fighters, and like all the dudes were between 5'4" and 5'6", and
That's
they had like
me.
a 26-inch waist. They were like little bitty. They had the uniforms on like dolls, and you're looking at them, and the waists are like, 23 inches, 24 inches bigger, and I'm like, holy, these are tiny. So yeah, if he was 6 foot,
That's what happens when you eat rice all the time.
there was a well, not even that. It's just it seems like people were smaller. So back in the day, the Romans said that the Vikings were so intimidating because they could cleave a Roman soldier in half with a single blow of their axe, right?
Yeah.
And the Vikings were giants.
Speaking
The
of
Vikings were
Vikings,
between 5'9" and 5'11",
there
and that
were,
was giant.
There were, I think it might be 6. Some small number, less than 10, of a sword in the Viking era that on the side of this sword was written Uthbert.
Uthbert.
And somehow the Vikings figured out how to make like steel that we have now, like the molecules
like Damascus
inside,
steel.
no, not like Damascus, like the steel that we make now. All the molecules are like very like that way you can like bend it, you can shape it, you can sharpen it. But before then, they didn't know how to make that.
What,
That's
Damascus?
why the molecules and steels to be locked together. That's why knight swords, broadswords, they weren't sharp except for the first 6 inches,
Right.
Because the steel was so brittle,
Right.
that it would break if you tried to sharpen the whole thing. But back in the Viking era, they had a sword, and it was like 6 of them, dude, and they said Uthbert on the side. And everyone who saw that claimed that it was a fucking magical weapon, because they would go and stab shields with it, and the sword would go, bing, and they were able to like cleave into shields and fucking fuck shit up. It's because no one knew how to make super steel like that back then, except for one dude who decided to make these swords and
Named
carve
Uthbert.
Uthbert into the side of it.
The Japanese used 2 different types of steel. One that was brittle, which you could put an edge on, and then one that was flexible. And
Oh,
they'd
that's
fold
not
it.
2 types of steel. That's one type of steel. And when they break it down, when they have the ore of it, they take the ore and they smack it. And if it cracks, then it's good for the blade.
The inside, yeah,
And if
or the outside, yeah.
And if it like crumbles, then it's good for the inside. But it's still one piece of steel, or one steel metal. Did you even know what katanas were made for originally? Cutting down bamboo. It was a garden weapon. It's a garden tool. Because bamboo's a motherfucker. So they were like, we need something that fucking can get rid of this shit. Because we're in Japan and bamboo's every goddamn where. How do I get rid of it? Oh, you know what else this is good for? Killing people.
Well, that's where kudzu came from too.
Oh my God! Let's not talk about that.
Okay, so I was super blasted. And I learned...
You don't say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
I probably didn't even need to put that in the story.
You're probably already blasted right now.
So, before the Industrial Revolution, there had to be in every part of society warriors who did warrior things and took shit over. Okay? So that's in people's DNA somewhere. Okay? So I was thinking, well, if those used to exist, then the warrior bloodline still is in X amount of people.
Absolutely. That's what causes anxiety and stress. Is
And
because
I
we can't
was-
punch people in the face because we get arrested.
Yeah.
That'd feel so good to do.
Right?
That would feel
It's in
wonderful.
your DNA.
Yeah. I would love to frog splash someone off the top ropes.
Frog splash.
I knew a guy that lived in my old neighborhood. He had 2 wrestling rings in his backyard.
I want to be friends with that guy.
Oh my God,
So
I
I,
think he
was
still lives
saying that if that warrior spirit still lives in people, then the only way it can be manifested now is through the internet. and I was
Trolls.
saying trolls are the people who have warrior spirit in them, but they can't release it except through the internet.
I think you're giving them too much credit.
Well, I mean, they just want to fight.
kinda
So
what I
then I
thought.
was thinking, well, what about the trolls who just go out and just do dick moves for no reason? And then I found this word in Japanese. It's called tushigiri. T-S-U-J-I space G-I-R-I.
Which means dick move for no reason.
No, it was a
Funny
word
word
for the
masturbating.
samurai class. Once a samurai got a new sword, really and truly the only way to test to see if your sword fucking
Get blood on it.
is to fucking go out in the streets and find somebody and just kill them. So tushigiri is killing someone in
For
the
no
streets
reason.
randomly. So I was like, oh, the trolls who fucking just go out and shit on people for no reason are warriors. And because we can't be physical anymore, it's all word
Maybe.
style. So I'm thinking maybe people who are evil on the internet are basically doing tushigiri but with words.
If you see UFC,
Sugiri.
some of those guys are just warriors. They fight like this past fight with
Yeah, but
Cub Swanson, the fight that was on Saturday.
Yeah.
They were in a battle, and it was a 5-round fight, and they were like round 3, and Cub Swanson landed on this Russian dude that he was fighting lob off, and he just freaking this crazy combination where he did a capoeira spinning side kick to the head.
wow.
And then came back and popped him with a right hook, and the dude kind of stumbled, and Cub Swanson just looked at him and smiled, like laughed, and it was like primal as fuck, and I was like, that's a warrior.
Yeah.
Like he was having fun, you know. I don't know. Some of the trolls could just
But
be.
I mean, you got to think about how many. Okay, you saw Braveheart, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, think about how many warriors were in that.
Yeah.
So I mean, not everyone's
but
going to be at
trolls-
that level.
Trolls could also be like the overweight nerd kid that got picked on in high school that can't be a cop yet and carry a gun because like he can't even pass the test because he's a moron, and he gets on the internet where he can say whatever and he knows he's not going to get his ass kicked because no one knows who he is, right? Some trolls I think are just cowards. I think some
hide
trolls
behind the screen.
exactly. They can say shit because they know in the real world if they were to say that same thing to someone at a gas station, they'd get punched
Well,
in the
you
dick.
said warriors are people who, it would be fun to be able to go around and just sock people in the face.
Yeah, but these
But
guys
we can't do that anymore.
If you meet
Right.
fighters and warriors, they're really laid back. They're really kind
That's
of
true.
calm.
That is true. And trolls
yeah,
are spastic.
Yeah.
but warriors themselves, it was not a set individual style of group. No,
it was
it wasn't
necess-
like
it was a
these
necessity for,
people
like,
are
all of
warriors,
mankind.
and these are the 5 types. Like that's a stoner. There's 5 types of stoners.
Right.
No, it was
No,
like
yeah.
blanket.
Okay.
You're
yeah,
a
yeah.
warrior. You fight. You have a sword. It's been in your generation. You might not even be good at it.
So you're saying there's like 5 types of trolls? Or 5 types of warriors? Or
I'm
one's a troll?
saying that maybe nowadays, because how our world is going, that the warrior gene inside people has found an outlet through trolls.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that talk about how modern society is crushing our natural instincts to get our inner testosterone out. And that's kind of what you're talking about is that warrior gene. I mean, there's...
But then isn't it better that that's something that you say is a natural thing for us to fade that off into oblivion?
I mean, that's debatable. I mean, maybe it's a necessity thing. Maybe we should be able to do that, right?
Well, what do you call people like us who are...
Well,
kinda-
you'll have people who, if warriors don't get faded out, then neither will war.
True.
I don't think
But you
warriors
could
will
turn that
get
into
faded.
sport instead of war. I mean, that's what football is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's what trolling is. Trolling's a sport, dude.
I'm on the fence about that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
I think some of our
D-
cowards.
4chan does shit just to
Yeah.
just to be like, you got upset about it. you shouldn't have got upset about it because it's
But
pointless.
they're a group
But
of
I'm going to
hackers,
continue
you
to.
know?
Yeah.
That's like a.
Yeah, I think there's different levels of trolldom.
Yeah, they do that.
I think
shit
there's
for fun.
chicken
Oh, well,
pansy
there's also
trolls.
different levels of warriors.
Exactly. Yeah.
But those guys aren't afraid to do shit. They're like, you're
Warrior
being
gene.
You're being a piece of shit.
That's just falling
Some trolls
easier
are.
into my
If you
warrior.
confronted a troll, like, hey, why are you being an asshole on the internet? And they're just like, I'm sorry, bro. Vape
Well,
life.
I don't think people are doing it. I don't think people are getting on the internet and going, "My dad was a Viking." I think it's just something. And you're like,
I don't know if that's the sound it makes.
But also, I mean, a lot of the internet gives power to people who generally in the real world wouldn't have power, right? So again, back in the day of
Same with
warriors,
hackers.
the chicken shit peasant who's not good enough to be a warrior, who is scared, who whatever,
That guy has
nowadays
small
has
muscles.
the internet. Yeah.
Mine are bigger.
Yeah. Now they have the internet.
Photoshop.
So you almost bring out the inner chicken shit of people who can get bold, right, and hide behind a screen.
yeah, but that's what I think
Doesn't that
warriors
kind of fall in
were.
with porn?
No.
Warriors, a lot of those people were just there to wreak havoc. They didn't care what the goal of the thing was. If you look at the Crusades,
Yeah,
just
and
meow.
they
you
had-
say
they had
every
kahunas.
single
They
person
had
in the
kahunas.
Crusades was for Jesus, I would
No.
say that's improbable.
Some of them probably just wanted to fight because they were generally badasses.
I'm a
Well,
little 5
no,
And
pound.
my
well,
argument to the
and then
troll
if
thing
people
is
are
there's some people who
badasses-
aren't badasses, and the internet gives them an opportunity to have a voice. Right?
They
They're
get to
chicken
be
shits. They're
assholes
pieces
there.
of shit.
The
Yeah.
internet gives people power that not normally in real life
Exactly.
would have power.
Exactly.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, yours makes sense too. Maybe there's some people out there that are just fucking
I
assholes.
mean, but people only get power if you give it to them.
which is the internet. You're
Power
giving
is,
people
power
power.
is assumed, not given.
Oh, and what do you
Some
call
people take
anonymous
it,
or
and then they
fortune?
end up
yeah,
in
that's
prison.
assumed.
Let's-
Yeah. I mean, there's
Yeah.
always black and white, failure
Have you ever
and
seen
success.
somebody fucking rat somebody or hack somebody? That shit's fucking
Catfishing.
crazy. Yeah, I seen a guy where he can send you an email. You download the thing.
Oh, I got
not knowing,
catfished once.
and it's called ratting.
I sent somebody $100.
Once you download that program, that dude has full control of your webcam. He can fucking download a virus into your computer. He can look through your browsing history. He can look through a captured video of what you're doing exactly right now. A lot of people do that with those Windows scammers, and they rat them, and they just fuck their computers up.
Speaking of, have you seen the new movie that's coming out, I think Friday, with Emma Watson from Harry Potter and Tom Hanks?
Oh, The Circle. It's supposed to be some AI shit.
No, it's about basically they're trying to figure out, is it about Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook? Basically, it's about how the internet can control
Siddhartha.
every asset or every aspect of
Dude,
your.
Mark Zuckerberg is the internet.
That's how
Yeah.
Trump won the election.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was listening to some shit, and they were talking about what's that guy's name that Trump just gave every power to, and took it away from
Kushner.
Yeah. Okay, so apparently he was working on a program that was taking all sorts of
It was like
information everywhere.
That dude's a
it
level
was
5
on
idiot.
Moneyball.
They weren't even doing anything. They were just doing programs for the entire United States, and that program was even making speeches. They did nothing except hit enter,
Yeah.
and some computer program went. If you want to win, you need to attack here.
Have you
here,
seen the
here,
movie
here,
Moneyball?
Here. No.
Moneyball was a true story, and it was with Brad Pitt, and it was based on a guy who decided to use an algorithm and statistics to pick how much to pay the baseball players, right?
Oh, I thought that was also with the guy from 21 Jump Street, and they
Yes.
only had X amount of money, and
Yep.
they were like, well, we need to make a team.
Yep.
We're going to pick all these people
Yep.
who supposedly are shit, but if you combine them all together, according to this
Yeah,
math,
but it
works
was
out.
based on algorithms and statistics.
That's how Trump won the presidency.
Exactly.
What is
Through
the
an
guy's
algorithm.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name who they do statistics for a living?
Statistician.
Okay.
Statistician.
There's a guy who created a computer algorithm, and he did this with lotto, and he did this with baseball, and it was for betting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he created computer algorithm, and he makes a living off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
wins
people
so
do.
much money.
What's that football one that they do?
Fantasy football.
Fantasy football.
Yeah.
You can win off fantasy football,
Oh,
but
yeah.
there's some
I play it
people
every
in
year.
fantasy football who have algorithms that know the weather, the location,
Well-
all the stats of all the people
There's
who are
geniuses
playing,
out there, dude.
and they don't do anything except click their algorithm and let it run, and they fucking.
Did you
make
see the
millions.
movie about the MIT teacher?
No.
There was an MIT
I mean,
teacher.
basically, when you say,
not
"Have
what
you
it
seen this movie?"
Yeah.
If it's not got cartoons in it,
You haven't seen it.
I haven't fucking seen it.
Okay, there was an MIT movie with, or as a movie with Kevin Spacey as the MIT teacher, and it was based on a true story.
He does
And
great
what he did
impersonations.
is he was a math teacher,
Are you talking about
and
21?
he found all the top math students, and he had an idea that he could take them to Vegas and use their math skills to count cards and win $1 gazillion. So he created a little cartel, and he took them to Vegas.
That's a baller ass movie.
And they did. They like won gazillions of dollars because they were using, but in their head they
were the
using
first people
mathematics.
who did it too.
Yeah. But then the mob found out and beat the fucking shit out of them and threatened to kill them
Oh, it's a dope ass.
and
movie.
banned them. But it was based on a true story. There was
Yeah.
an MIT
At
professor.
the end of the movie, they show the professor at the end, don't they?
Yeah.
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 It's a dope ass movie. Same with Wolf of Wall Street. That's based on a true story.
Yeah. Statistics is fucking interesting. You can do anything with statistics, man.
That's the whole world.
Yeah. I mean, math,
Yeah.
which gets
Math
back to
is-
sacred geometry.
Everything. Well, I mean, in sacred geometry, Metaton's cube has the 6 shapes that are used to make every shape ever.
Everything.
And who was the guy who made all the Da Vinci? Da Vinci. So Da Vinci had like a stack of papers, and it was the Genesis pattern broken down in individual shapes, and like what the math was inside those shapes. And the first dude who studied it was like, oh, this guy's just studying shapes to figure out, how to make his inventions. But no, he was legit studying the Genesis pattern with all the shapes inside of it.
Have you heard of the Voinovich manuscripts? Have you? You got it. When we get done with this, you need to YouTube this shit. The Voinovich document is there was a guy, I want to say it was like the 1800s, who was a book collector, and he was able to find all these rare books that people were looking for, and he started a bookstore like in London, but he was like Indiana Jones of bookstore people, right? So he'd travel the world and he would find like the original copy of such and such with a signed autographed copy, blah, 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 right? So as he was traveling, he ended up in Italy, and there were some monks that were basically bankrupt, and he went into the monks' library.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah. And he went into the monks' library, and he was like offering them money for these books, and he opened a chest, and there was like these perfectly gilded manuscripts, like with gold leaf and all this, and it was beautiful, and he was digging through, and then he found like this ugly duckling book, this piece of shit, like ratty book, and he opened it up, and he looked at it, and it had all these funky drawings of like plants and naked women, and he couldn't
Naked.
figure out what the language was, right? So he takes it back to London, and everyone looked at it, and they were like, what is this? To this day, they've had ciphers from the CIA who were code busters during World War II and stuff. No one can figure
Enigma.
out what language it's in.
Oh, I know what book you're talking about.
And they don't know if it's shorthand or if it's a real language.
It's one of the greatest mysteries of the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's
Oh,
got
like fucking
weird.
Toth's 13
Exactly.
emerald
Yeah,
tablets.
it's got a-
it's like
that
that.
no one ever fucking talks about, but no one knows shit about it.
It's
Doesn't
got
make
a
any
bunch of
goddamn
pictures
fucking
of
sense.
plants
Yeah,
and
it's like
everything.
that.
They think it has to do with medicine.
It may be like an alien book or something because it shows all these plants, and some of them are not recognizable. Like no botanist has ever recognized
Yeah.
any
I
of these
wonder
plants.
if you.
I think
if
there's
you
insects
got
in there that
book
doesn't make
and
any
find
sense.
a compilation of those plants. How many of those plants are plants that have an abundance of DMT?
Who knows? But the point is, no one can figure this book out and never have since like the 1800s. Like no one.
Everybody tried to fucking decide.
Everyone. I mean, they've paid money. They've had what do you call it? Like
It's just a matter of time, man.
no one can crack the code.
It's just a matter of
It's
time.
like who wrote this?
Statistics. eventually that shit will get figured out. Somehow. Don't rub Siddhartha like that.
Don't tell me what to do.
I just did, slut. Do it again. Yeah. Do it on the other side. Yeah. Rub his wiener. Yeah.
We were making eye contact the whole time. Now it's your turn.
No. Quit, dude. Fucked hard.
So sensitive.
I am.
Oh, so the last, essentially, like, the time before he actually became enlightened, as he was sitting
You got to say who
underneath the
he
tree.
is.
Siddhartha.
Okay.
As Siddhartha was sitting under the Bodhi tree,
Yep.
he was getting attacked by a demon, and to try to lead him astray from enlightenment and fill him with, like, this isn't right, you're not supposed to be doing this, etc., etc. The demon actually spit out of its mouth his 3 beautiful daughters and tried to seduce him to not reach enlightenment. And then the demon got scared because he was like, none of this fucking shit is working. Finally, the demon was like, well, how is anyone going to know that you reached enlightenment? What does that even mean? How is anyone going to know? Who's going to believe you? And he was sitting under the tree for something like 3 days. And at that time, when the demon asked that question, he opens his eyes and he went, the earth will. And he touched the earth, and the earth, and it killed the demon.
You know why?
And that was
Because
him reaching
the earth
enlightenment.
is sentient. Sentient.
Sentient.
The earth is alive. The earth is an organism. We are just organisms living on a live organism.
Yeah.
But we're like a cancer. We're trying to kill the organism, the
Oh,
host.
I was listening to.
And we don't realize if we kill the host, then we die too. Because we're that ignorant. Humans.
Maybe not, though. You know?
But maybe.
We don't know any history beyond what is now.
But maybe.
So I feel like all avenues should be pursued. Because.
Not destruction. Destruction shouldn't be pursued.
Well, destruction leads to creation.
Okay.
Every single
So let me
time.
chop my hand off and see if I can grow it back. Because it might lead to creation.
Go for it.
Yeah, that's stupid.
you
I mean, you're still
regenerate?
going to have to live with the
Are you Piccolo?
consequences that take place.
Exactly.
I mean,
He's
the
a Namekian.
consequences don't go away.
Unfortunately, the
But-
Republicans don't understand that, and they don't understand consequences.
Well, we'll leave that for the podcast coming up next. Tune in at 11.
Next time you see a troll, don't get upset. Just acknowledge that that is a warrior testing out his sword. And
Or a-
by sword, I mean words.
Or a pussy.
So,
I like those.
well, I mean, people are getting upset about trolls. So if we view them in a different light, then maybe the people being upset about it will be viewed in a different light as well. You know?
Bye, everybody.
Whatever, bitch.